So there.
So there.
So there.
So there.
Let me know your thoughts.
So there.
So there.
So there.
Let me know your thoughts.
Why do you keep saying let us know your thoughts?
Let me know your thoughts to me is a nice lead-in for So there. So there.
Welcome to episode 62 of
So
there. I'm Gary Doyle.
And I'm Tom Karamitis.
Tom, the last time we talked, we spoke from the So There cabin.
I know, it's good to be back to civilization. Good to be back with a, toilet that flushes and being able to take a daily shower. It's all good.
Tom and I had a long trip back from the cabin. We rode together. It was a 9-hour trip from the the southern north woods of Minnesota.
The southern woods of northern Minnesota?
Yeah, the southern woods of northern Minnesota. It was a 9-hour trip. We only stopped 5 times for beef jerky, corn nuts, bathroom time, and we only argued 3 times. We only brooded and stopped speaking to each other 3 times in 9 hours, which isn't bad.
But that's good. But each of those broods means that there's 3 hours of utter silence in the car. But we got home just in time for the Super Bowl.
Oh, yes, the Super Bowl. Yes, whenever Tom, before we get to that, whenever Tom and I don't speak for a few days or a week or whatever, one of us accuses the other of brooding about some unknown slight.
And there have been hundreds of them.
Usually we're not brooding. It's just we happen to have not spoken for a few days, but one always suspects the other of brooding about something.
Right, because the one who suspects brooding is doing so because he feels probably a little bit guilty that maybe he went a little too far. Maybe he poked the bear.
When you started talking about one who stops brooding, I thought you were going to he who knows not. And knows not that he knows not. He is a fool, shun him.
So there.
So yes, the Super Bowl, Tom. There was a Super Bowl a few days ago. Most people have forgotten about it. I've almost forgotten about it. I'll bet if you went up to 10 people on the street and asked who won, 7 people have already forgotten. But yes, the Super Bowl was on, and of course there were commercials on the Super Bowl. Yeah. So before we get to the commercials, Tom, what did you think of the game?
It was. I thought for the first half was fairly forgettable. And boring. And then, obviously it got exciting at the end. It's funny, I didn't really have a rooting interest. But then when I saw Travis Kelce shove Andy Reid and almost knocked him over, I kind of started to say, well, excuse me, screw Kansas City. I hope San Francisco wins. But then I realized I don't really like San Francisco either. There's a lot of arrogance on that team. There's a lot of, we're just, I think they think they're better than they are. And so at the end, I was kind of indifferent. But I what's not to like about Patrick Mahomes? I think he seems to be a good guy and a good teammate and stuff. But in the end, to answer your question, it was a really good game, and I didn't have a strong rooting interest for most of it.
Yeah, you're like me with sports, where if you're neutral on the game, on the contest, you tend to find reasons to dislike a team, and therefore that forms your rooting interest. I don't know what that says about us.
Well, to me, it's a bit of an offshoot of if I don't have a rooting interest in a game, I will tend to just go to the underdog. I like to see upsets. I like to see smugness, of the favorites pushed back in their faces. But yeah, I would agree. I would agree.
Tom Karamitis and I, negative energy rules our rooting interest in sports. I didn't have a strong interest either. I wanted a good game, which it was, and like you, I like Patrick Mahomes. I sometimes find myself rooting for the Chiefs, much like I used to root for Tiger Woods, just because they're so great, and it's just there's something about that just makes you want them to win, unless they're terrible people. And even though Tiger Woods has done some bad things, I don't think he's a terrible person. So I tend to root for both just because they're just pure greatness.
Well, let me ask you a question about that. Did you ever apply that to rooting for the New England Patriots during their heyday? Because I never really liked them, even when they were great for so long because of Tom Brady.
I never understood the Tom Brady dislike. He is the most bland, vanilla character to me. He seems like a sportsman-like person. He doesn't trash talk the other team that I know of. To me, there's never been much to dislike about Tom Brady. I know that he had that Deflategate thing a few years ago, but other than that, Tom Brady, I never actively was a huge fan of him, but I didn't, it's kind of like Mahomes. I appreciated him and thought he was great and didn't really feel any negative feelings toward him.
Yeah, and Tom Brady, between his eyes and his cleft chin, I just get lost. I just kind of stop thinking about football. Oh, I'm in love.
So your homoerotic feelings toward Tom Brady have you confused.
Yeah.
And so I think that's an irrational person not to like somebody because of your homoerotic confusion.
Well, Jimmy Garoppolo, same thing. It's like, how do I dislike him? He's so handsome.
Oh, he's unbelievable. Oh, my gosh. I'm gay for that guy. Oh, my gosh. He's another level up from Tom Brady. Tom Brady is good looking, but Jimmy Garoppolo, oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
I love you, man. So there. All right, so the Super Bowl commercials. Tom, you used to be in the business. I am in the business. What do you think?
Well, so just I had first couple general observations. I feel like it's none of it really is great advertising. I just feel like every spot is a high gloss, expensive production loaded with celebrities. I mean, I know every year there are lots of celebrities, but I feel like every live action commercial I saw had a celebrity. It wasn't even like, with the possible exception of the E-Trade little babies, the toddlers. They also tend to default on elaborate, expensive commercials involving chasing. It's like a visual cacophony, and I feel like if I were to kind of advise somebody to do a Super Bowl commercial, I would recommend to them do something quiet. Quiet would really cut through in the Super Bowl, and to that point, one of the spots I actually thought was one of the better spots. I didn't really necessarily embrace the message as much, but the Jesus spot was so quiet. I just remembered it, and it was like everybody has stopped in their tracks to watch it. So those were my overall points of view. How about yours? Do you have any overall thoughts?
Yeah, longtime listeners of the pod, and I know there are 4 of you, maybe 5, know that Gary Doyle has the same reaction every year in the Super Bowl. I tend to watch the Super Bowl with people, friends maybe, or at a party or gatherings, or maybe just a couple people come over or whatever, and I always turn to them and apologize for the industry. about the 9th or 10th commercial in, and it's another bad one, and I just say, I'm sorry. I apologize. I mean, it's the one day of the year when people actually look forward to ads. They actually lean forward and pay attention and can't wait for the ads. The one day of the year when they're like, I really want to watch these ads, unlike the other 364 days where they avoid them or ignore them. And every year we just fail them with, as you said, overproduced, celebrity-heavy, just trying so desperately hard to be entertaining. You can feel the sweat. It's like we have to make the best commercial ever because we're on the freaking Super Bowl, and it's just, yeah.
Yeah, it's like it is the the Super Bowl is the senior prom of advertising, right? It everybody gets dressed up, and it's the one day where people, rather than just kind of skip past commercials, they're actually talking about wanting to watch the commercials. And the news outlets of the world all do features, about the commercials leading up to the game and stuff. And yeah, to your point, I feel like, you know how the senior prom or prom in general is it's all built up, and then the actual event maybe didn't live up to the expectations. I feel like that happens at least every year for the last at least 5 or 6 years. I feel like we've had a very similar point of view on the work.
Or New Year's Eve, same thing, big build up, and then it just inevitably. Beyond 5 or 6 years, I think this is, it's been going on a long time. It's embarrassing. I thought the floor was even lower this year. Like, it's usually a low floor, and then there are 3 or 4 good ads. And I thought that was the case this year. There were 3 or 4 good ads, but a really low floor, like the lowest floor I've ever seen. The other thought that went through my head was the Super Bowl is filled with ads by people that don't know how to conceive of the ads. Shot by directors that don't know how to shoot them. We've lost the plot. I found it embarrassing. I don't know what to say. I agree with you about the Jesus ads are good. That's a really good campaign. It's an excellent campaign, not just the Super Bowl ads, but it is, as you said, simple and poignant, and makes a simple point. And you're absolutely right. More Super Bowl advertisers would be wise to adopt a simple approach instead of trying to top each other with these madcap celebrity chase scene. By the way, we did a chase scene Porsche Super Bowl commercial a few years ago, so no comment on that. Without just the massive 60-second story filled with action and jokes for 60 seconds would be better. Just if the Jesus 1, 2 were very good, as they always are to me. I don't know if you saw the one with the NFL players flying like Seahawks were flying like Seahawks. And
it was for the NFL?
Yeah, it was for the NFL. Very charming. And there were different teams, but they all acted like their nickname, and there was CGI of players flying. It was very charming.
Okay, I don't remember that one. I remember the strange NFL one with Justin Jefferson in Accra, in Africa somewhere. And
I didn't understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I lose the plot very quickly with these kind of elaborate storylines too. It was very good. Maybe because it may have appeared either right before the kickoff or maybe a couple spots before the kickoff. Maybe it's why you missed it. I thought the VW one that celebrated its history that was set to the Neil Diamond song was very good. I don't know if you caught that.
Yeah,
Lovely.
can I comment on that?
Of course.
What I like the spot. I honestly didn't get the connection to the Neil Diamond song. It's obviously an iconic song in so many ways. It's kind of become this de facto anthem for a lot of groups of fans in the stands. But I didn't really understand it seemed kind of a weak link to Volkswagen. But
Tom,
I Am, I Said, right? That was the song?
Yeah. I Am, I Said. In real time, Gary Doyle. Well, here's why they use that song, because I want to call up the lyrics, because it hinges through the first half on the Beatle.
Yeah, it's individuality, right? That whole...
Kind of, it's individuality, but the verse they used was, "Did you ever read about a frog who dreamed of being a king and then became one?" But that's why they use that song, because it's about individuality. It was about the frog that became a king, which is the VW Beetle, which is an ugly car that went on to rule the world. But yeah, they didn't, by the way, from that song use I Am, I Said to no one there, and no one heard at all, not even the chair.
Although the seats in some of the Volkswagens are comfortable, so they could have.
Whoa. But yeah, I liked that ad. I thought, I don't know if you remember it, but there was a DoorDash ad. I don't remember the ad, but it was very smart. They gave discounts to all the advertisers who advertised in the Super Bowl. They said, we will discount their product, which I thought was very smart. So you can get a discount on whatever, Burger King if they advertise. So anyway, but yeah, beyond that, it was, as usual, an embarrassment. Yeah.
I had a few. Can I bounce a few others off you? I sat there during the game, and I had a good column and a bad column.
Okay.
And in my good column, one of the spots I liked was the apartments.com with Jeff Goldblum, where there's two aliens from another planet, and there was kind of this underplay of, are they gay? And I don't want to judge anything that they're living together. I thought that was actually funny.
Yeah, I like the weirdness of that campaign. I always have. I like Jeff Goldblum in that campaign. I didn't think that the Super Bowl spot was the best example of that, but I do like that campaign. I like the old tagline they had: "Change your apartment, change the world," because it makes no sense.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I appreciate the everybody's high on ketamine aspect of that campaign.
I got a kick out of the Christopher Walken BMW spot and everybody doing their impressions of Christopher Walken. I thought it was a fairly weak link to the product, which was BMW, but it made me laugh.
A fairly weak link? Like what link?
Yeah.
I mean, no link. The first time I saw it, I thought I was kind of embarrassed by it, and I thought Christopher Walken was, I don't know, it was a flimsy premise. For a spot, people talking like Christopher Walken, just like I thought the Schwarzenegger State Farm thing was an extremely flimsy premise for a spot. We're going to make fun of how he says neighbor. Okay.
Yeah, and
okay.
At least what I'm reading about in social media, that one seems to be the one that a lot of people loved.
America loves it, Tom.
Yeah.
We love a foreigner who can't say neighbor.
I was having breakfast with an ex-Leo Burnett group creative director who loved that spot and loved the appearance at the end of Danny DeVito, and thought that was brilliant. And it was a little bit lost on me.
It was a very flimsy, and I know that group creative director. I'm disappointed in him for liking that spot. But the ending was good. You're correct. It was a cameo by Danny DeVito, and they were watching the spot in a theater, and Schwarzenegger called him a backstabber, and DeVito said backstabber. And that was a funny joke. That was a wit. That kind of wit is hard to come by in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That was actual wit.
Another spot I had in my good pile was that there was a period piece for Etsy. It was about the French giving us the Statue of Liberty and the Americans trying to somehow return the favor and thinking about what to give the French. I don't remember what it ended up with, whether it was cheese. I think it might have been cheese of some kind. But I actually thought that was nicely crafted.
I zone out on complicated storylines. I think it just reminds me of this as you talk about it. I've made Super Bowl ads before. I've been in the game 5 or 6 times, but I think now, well, no, that wasn't meant to be a flex.
Right? So I'm impressed. I think I was only in once with a Disney spot years ago, but
yeah. But if I were to make another Super Bowl ad, a lot of these ads, they start, and so much is happening in the beginning that you know what I mean? It's like right away there's a lot going on. And they're roping you into this storyline. And I'm like, could we just ease into this a little bit? Because, people are processing the last ad. Maybe they're talking about it. Maybe they're reaching for dip. You know what I mean? Just ease into it a little bit.
Absolutely.
That would be.
Absolutely.
And make the whole thing simple to your point. But just ease into it, fellas. Give people 5 or 6 seconds if you're going to do a minute-long spot, which a lot of them were. Give people 5 or 6 seconds just to kind of grasp the concept.
And I'll give you 3 examples of what you're talking about that came out of my bad pile. TinaFeyBooking.com, the Duncan spot,
Oh,
and then
God.
there was a Bud Light, Peyton Manning, chaos in the bar kind of thing. I didn't know what I was looking at, but I think all three fit exactly what you're talking about. If you happen to miss even if you saw the first 5 seconds of the commercial, I don't know if you necessarily catch up with the concept, but yeah, it's just, they think that these commercials are seen in a vacuum with nothing around them. And, to your point, yeah, a lot of the Super Bowl watching experience is a shared experience with people, and people's attention is kind of all over the place. So I don't know, maybe another reason why that Jesus spot cut through so well,
Yes. Super simple. Jesus washed people's feet. Okay, that's it. They had a great line at the end of something that made that make sense of why they were showing him washing feet. That's it. It's like, okay. Yeah. If Tom Karamitis came out of retirement and produced a Super Bowl commercial, you would go up to the creatives and go, may I make a suggestion, son? Make it simpler. So there. And they would go, but hey man, we got all these funny jokes that we had him say. We think they're funny.
Yeah, what is going to happen is next year, everyone will have come to the same conclusion we just did. And it's going to be like during the pandemic when every commercial was just like a silent slideshow of sadness. Nice alliteration there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be funny if the NFL, in all of its 800-pound gorilladom, decided to now trademark the phrase, the big game? So you can't say that either. Eventually, people have to. It would be like Prince when he went to the symbol,
That would be a great flex. Hey, fellas, don't say the big game. Hey, man, you said we couldn't say Super Bowl. Now we can't say the big game? Yeah. Say that thing until we say you can't say that either.
Don't mess with the NFL, son.
It's true. Did you happen to see Did you happen to see the My Way film that the NFL did?
Tell me, I think so.
Outstanding.
What was it for? Just the NFL?
It was NFL. It was for the game. So I guess Tom Karamitis was not watching before the game. It came out about 15 minutes. It was one of those pregame films that they make that you fear that they, it's a big production.
An essay.
Yeah. So it was Frank Sinatra singing My Way, and they filmed an orchestra, and they intercut it with scenes of the players playing during the course of the year. It was magnificently done. Not a commercial, just about the season. I suggest all of you listeners go Google that, YouTube it, and NFL commercial My Way.
All right. All I will say there is any majesty that song had was summarily sacrificed when the publishers sold the rights to that song to Cologuard.
Oh yeah. Oh.
So there.
Tom, I'll tell you one product that was not advertised in the Super Bowl. Do you want to know what that is?
Yes.
A bidet.
A bidet. Interesting. What brings that to your mind? It's kind of a random thing.
Gary Doyle got a bidet.
For your home, you mean?
Yes. It was actually... I had expressed an interest in a bidet in the past, and so my bride gave me a bidet for my birthday.
All right, Pete, before you go on and explain any more of that, I just do think it's interesting that as people age, as we are, they become more and more bowel obsessed. But go ahead.
I must be bowel obsessed because I love my bidet. As Woody Allen said in Annie Hall, I more than love it, I lurve it. I luff it. Luff. I luff it. I lurve it. I loathe it.
Again, without getting overly graphic, let me ask you a question. When you feel the urge, do you now only do number 2 in that bathroom because of the bidet?
Yes.
So you will bypass a closer bathroom in order to go for the bidet experience.
Once you've used the bidet, the normal way feels dirty.
So, can I come to your house and try it?
Absolutely.
No, I think you wouldn't like that. I think what you like about the bidet is you're the only one that uses it.
No. Well, my bride is hesitant so far to use it. She fears it. My daughter also got a bidet at about the same time, the same kind of bidet. It's called Tushy. That's the brand, Tushy.
Okay. Clever.
Yeah. And we call it our Tushy journey that we're on together. Maddie and I are on our Tushy journey. And we hashtag our texts to each other, our Tushy journey.
So Gary Doyle is more determined than ever to work from home these days.
Absolutely. So there.
Well, on that cleansing note, if you will, we will wrap up our Super Bowl flashback issue. And until next time, for Gary Doyle, this is Tom Karamaitis saying,
So there.